Thought I'd have a little fun. These are what I consider the worst NASCAR broadcasters, both radio and TV, race action, pit reporters, commentators, and what have you, I've ever heard. Now, I realize I may be out of date on some of the radio because, frankly, in the last, 25 years or so, I've listened to very few races on the radio due to the fact they've all been on TV. But here goes. Dave Rogers for the old Darlington Raceway Network. He stunk. By the way, I saved the worst two for last. Hal Hamrick. Dave Rogers, by the way, was call him the play-by-play man, or one of them on the Darlington Raceway Network. Hal Hamrick, play-by-play man on the old Universal Racing Network. Not very good. Sam Posey. What was a sports car driver doing on NASCAR broadcast in the 80s for ABC? In fact, before we knew the whole story on Tim Richmond, Sam Posey talked about an inebriated Richmond taking a poke at him and missing at a party. Well, one of the publications I subscribed to at the time, and remember, no details of the tragedy of Tim Richmond were known at this time. There was a woman wrote a letter, I believe it was a woman wrote a letter to him, said, "Better luck next time, Tim." Bobby Unser, some ABC broadcasts in the 80s. An IndyCar driver on NASCAR broadcasts, limited stock car experience, never really did anything in NASCAR. Michael Waltrip. On top of being a conflict of interest because he is a car owner and obviously supports his team, although I do notice in the last year or so Fox seems to have had him tone it down. And like brother, Darrell Waltrip, who, I don't know, although I will say that the vote was to do away with boogity, 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 and the Fox president liked it and overruled it. Larry McReynolds, crew chief who claims to fame was winning the Daytona 500 twice, but let's see, in 92 he had Robert Yates standing beside him. In 98 he had Richard Childress standing beside him. Rusty Wallace, do you ever get tired of hearing him? I do. I don't know. I just can't think much of him. And here's one most of you probably haven't heard of. No, I'm not even going to do him. And here's the worst two. Jackie Stewart. Give me a break. ABC, when we had the terrible coverage of NASCAR a week or two later on Wild World of Sports between log rolling and arm wrestling or something like that, they forced Jackie Stewart down our throats. Jackie Stewart might have been a great open wheel driver. I'm sure he was. Not on NASCAR. Want to do open wheel? Fine. Let him do open wheel. But keep the only way you should get in a NASCAR race is buy a ticket. Pure and simple. Just like I do. It's the only way I'll get in. So be it. And the absolute worst is Brad Daugherty. Yeah, he's a part owner of a racing team. He's also a basketball player. Well, with ESPN going away after this year, hey ESPN, let them go do basketball. Keep them away from the other networks doing racing. Do us a favor, please, ESPN. Keep Brad Daugherty so we don't have to put up with him. This has just been my opinion. Again, disclaimer, blogs are strictly my opinion. And these are the people I didn't like or don't like as broadcasters. Now, I am going to be doing one of broadcasters I like. Probably right after this one. And the reason the black flag, pure and simple. That's what I think of all these commentators and so forth.